There we go. Excellent. Yanni and Jess are via phone tonight. Yanni, did you want me to just start out with the agenda or did you want to start it?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind starting it, that'd be great.
All right, welcome everyone. Welcome to FLUA for our first time at our D2 board meeting. Did you want to say a few things? Just kind of introduce yourself to us.
Yeah, well, again, like mentioned, my name is Nicole Yang. I just got appointed today at City Council meeting.
It's official.
We had a long meeting today, and what else? Before my time here, I worked at a nonprofit organization, and then before that, I worked with Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Peggy Blanket on their first term, doing a lot of public engagement and also work. I served a long time ago in District 5 Painted Valence board a while back. So great to be here. Yeah, grew up in Ward 6, so
All right.
Ward 6, love Ward 6.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming and you're always welcome.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you in the future. So we have, we did have a change in the agenda tonight. We had one subtraction and additions. So, the St. Paul Urban Tennis will actually be here in July. They had to, delay their board meeting. But they will still come and they're excited to come and meet with you. Give you some updates on their project that they're working on, if you can envision the vacant lot right to the north of, the post office on Minnehaha. So 7th and, yep. So, they own that property and they're looking to build a new facility and a park. So, we're excited about that. Yeah. So with that, we have a super brief update on Purple Line. That's probably not gonna even take the full 5 minutes. And then, a discussion of the habitat letter, that Yanni had sent. And actually, Ann, can you get Flua a packet so she can follow along too? So with that, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I so move.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, then we do have our financials. If you'll take a look, we are a little under halfway point for our city grant, which is the biggest one. Mainly because we were forced to use some other grants first, just because of timing. But we will very quickly use up that money, knowing that that has to be done at the end of the year. Every other grant, except for the Department of Energy grant, we have either received the full amount or have already begun receiving reimbursements. The Department of Energy grant had a delayed start, so we will probably start drawing on that this month. And that is the grant that we received in conjunction with the other 3 East Side District Councils and the American Lung Association to do education on electric vehicles and the designation of where charging spots should be on the east side. And that is a 2-year grant. So, like I say, we'll start drawing on that one soon. Because obviously we already have a little bit of money that we spent already. The other thing is I got a very nice check from White Bear Avenue Business Association today. So, yes, so we were kind of wondering if we were going to be getting another check from the White Bear Avenue Business Association. We have, with this check that I received, we'll have received 23,000, which is much less than we typically receive, but more than we thought we'd get this year, just because they've had changes to their pull tab sites. So that is an exciting thing. Other than that, the Ramsey County grant will be finishing off in end of July. However, they have notified us of potential grant opportunities. So I'll keep it posted on that one. And then also I will be writing a grant request to the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. They are doing a pilot project for volunteer air monitoring. And especially in light of the northern iron issues that are happening in Phelan, Dayton's Bluff. You know, the wind just blows. So eventually it's gonna hit District 2. So, I think we have a pretty good, chance, especially. So hopefully that'll help our application for that. So, and that too would be a 2-year grant. And basically, again, doing education and then the actual purchases of the air monitors. And then we would instruct people, specifically quad 3, so that Maryland south and between Johnson and White Bear. But we can also kind of filter them through the neighborhood as well, but with the concentration being really in that quad 3 area. So with that, is there any questions?
Can you explain co-ops?
Co-ops project is a project that is, the ISABA. Actually, I'm gonna have Giovanna, I hate to put you on the spot. Do you want to talk a little bit about the co-ops program? Because Giovanna is, kind of our staff person who's working on this project. So Giovanna?
So, the co-op, what we're doing is we're trying to make a community investment cooperative. We want to, purchase property and have it stay within the neighborhood, within the community, within the east side. As of right now, we are working on our bylaws and our articles of incorporation. Which, the way it's looking, we should have those done within the next 2 months. This is something that we have been working on over the last 2 years. And we are still in the process of doing more. We will be having an info session coming up within the next 6 months. We are also working on that as well as working on the articles of incorporation. Are there any other questions that you have that I may not have answered?
What kind of properties? Are they residential, commercial, or both?
We are looking at both.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we have the opportunity to continue to invest in the east side.
So you would buy up properties so we don't run the risk of someone else buying them and tearing them down?
Correct.
Or, trying to keep the income and investments here locally. So
Okay.
not having someone from Chicago or
Okay.
California buying east side properties and then
Okay.
having the money go back to them.
Got it.
Instead,
Okay.
they would be keeping the money here.
Okay.
And the monies that we receive are basically for Giovanna's tax.
Okay.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And that would be pending audit, right?
Yep.
Perfect. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So we have some open board seats still in our board, and Dan has actually moved out of quad 4 and is interested in serving as an at-large position. I think just for housekeeping and cleanliness, it'd be good to have a motion to make Dan an at-large board member. Jean?
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Let Yanni.
Yanni, you can't second, you're president.
Oh, there we go.
So Joy,
Don't want to be president.
I'm not sharing, so.
Great. Are there any other nominations for at-large positions? Any other nominations?
You don't have to live in the area.
At-large means you have to live in the area, but you can live anywhere in the neighborhood. Anywhere in the neighborhood,
Whole thing.
but not
Not just a
a
quad.
specific quadrant of the neighborhood.
Oh,
So with that, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All opposed, say aye.
You know you wanna.
Actually, I think Scott's moving out of the neighborhood, that's,
Only for state house.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, then you
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, unfortunately. All right, well, Dan, welcome back
Thank you.
for your 13 seconds that you. All right. Moving on, actually, Annie, can you grab a packet for Scott? So that he can follow along too?
Thank you.
So we have, in your packet, an update from Purple Line. We're not gonna spend a ton of time on this because you can read through it. Those of you online, I will make sure that Annie sends that out to you. The reason that we're really not doing a full presentation is because they have not completed the survey yet. Once they do, I will make sure that everyone gets a copy of it. The big things up to debate is there's 3 options for how they're going to take the bus rapid transit from Phelan Boulevard to either Maryland or the Metro Trail. In the past, it was always a bridge. Now, bridges are too expensive. And so, they're looking at a grade alternative, and there's 3 different alternatives. Basically, it would be to either complete Case and have it, actually intersect Phelan instead of a dead ending that it does now.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other option is, let's see if I can say it correctly, because I don't want to give you the wrong information, would be to close Magnolia. And then I think the other one is also a closing of Magnolia, but then keeping Cook as a dead end and transferring traffic, back up, Berquist. All 3 of these are technically in Payne Phelan. So they're gonna wanna take the lead on, what they want. But with that said, everyone has an opportunity to vote, and that's why we're kind of waiting until we get that survey, so that you can do that. It sounds like we're gonna get it by the end of the week. I don't know for sure about that. We'll see.
They have to, only one option will close the street. They'd have to close down Magnolia, replace it with a bus line, make that a bus.
Nope, if you take a look at the maps that are in there. There's a couple of different configurations. So basically, one option would be to extend Cook and move the stop to Cook. The other would move the stop west to Cook, and then one would have the intersection at Magnolia and Johnson. One would have the Magnolia and Cook both still dead end and have traffic move up to Burnquist over to Maryland. So it's all in your packets. And before you vote, I would make sure that you read through all of this. And if you do have any other questions, Colin, Liz, and Sarah's information is on the back page. So you can, and they're really good about responding to emails.
Can I just ask, since I
Yes,
live here on this corner of Magnolia
Yep.
and Johnson,
yeah,
so how would you, if they close the Magnolia access, how would you get from Magnolia to Phelan? Going
so
west?
you would have to either go Magnolia back around the church to Maryland, and then Maryland to Johnson to Phelan.
Sucks for you.
Yeah.
Less traffic on Magnolia.
Oh, that might be good though.
Yes.
So, Yanni, is there anything that you want to add, because you were on that meeting too?
Yeah, no, it's pretty straightforward. It's, they're figuring out, I think they still have to do some traffic counts. Weighing out the three different options too. So, there's a little more information to pack into each option. Yep.
So, and they're not asking for a District 2 position at this point, mainly because it's in District 5.
Yeah.
Second of all, it is, they don't have their stuff ready yet, so, but I just wanted to make sure that you had all the information once those surveys come out.
Am I accurate in figuring out that we said, no, we don't need a big expensive train, so they're doing this instead to establish a foundation for a future train that costs us, not that we already have the bag.
Sure.
The saving the road to do what we didn't want in the first.
Well, I think that ultimately, yes, but I think we have to look at what type of access we have to affordable, accessible transportation for everyone,
Use it.
who, there's a lot of folks who don't have cars.
Yeah.
No, I get it. My last one was $1,000, but that was $600.
A lot of folks still can't afford cars.
Especially if they go electric.
And nobody gets short.
All right, moving on, we have a discussion of the letter that Yanni had drafted, and there is a copy in your
Is there?
packet.
Oh, good heavens, we're in time.
And then I do also have it online here, so I can, Yanni, do you want me to share my screen right away, or did you want to just start?
No, I mean, I just so we're all on the same page. At our last meeting, a little, and then I can get into some history see where people would like to tweak the letter or have questions. Because we removed our support last meeting, or our letter of support last meeting, and then this is to
No, we did not.
reformulate. We did not.
We
I
did
thought
not.
that's what I thought that was what we voted on.
We voted for you to come up with options.
Okay, because I thought because I made a motion to remove that letter and propose a new letter, and this is us working on the new letter.
No.
No, okay.
But we
All
do
right.
have a draft letter here, so let's go with that.
All right. So there's just a proposal to replace our current letter of support with this one, seeing as Habitat has not done the geothermal, doesn't plan on doing the geothermal on the first two lots, and I've been asking him questions for about a year, almost a year now, and they just haven't answered the questions, which when you're asking questions, it always leads to more questions. And so it's just a project of this size, 147 units, which they have never done on a national level anywhere. And what sparked the interest in this was seeing all of the zone changes and requests for habitats, zoning appeals, and so on, going through the city, and the rush is, and they're starting before everybody else on the whole development, and that's because they've received an award from Habitat National, which is great. 49,000 people come out and donate their time to help build these properties. But their slab on grade, I believe they are using, they're saying 800,000 per unit, which that is not in Minnesota market. That's those numbers just don't make makes sense, especially without a basement or using geothermal. And the site was, the community did a lot of work on developing that site to be all electric, and as to not gentrify it, have everything be geothermal. Their proposal for passive air pump, a heat air pump, is nowhere near as efficient. You're heating at a range of, so geothermal, you're heating between about 20 degrees, heating or cooling. With the air, you are heating or cooling at about a 50-degree difference. So it's going to take a lot more electricity to heat and cool that property. And so it's going to gentrify those specific blocks that do not have geothermal. And it's that's the concern. And so all these other questions came ancillary as I was asking questions back and forth. So I don't know if anybody has any changes they would like to see, or what how the board feels about the letter as it is.
You know, at that meeting that they had about that, I was most shocked by the fact that they'll have a $450 a month HOA fee for everyone that's living in the houses, not the apartments. And you know, that's like playing landlord while you're supposedly selling someone their house.
I'm not aware of HOA fees.
That's what they were saying.
There's the HOA fee. Yep. And it's also a land trust too, so the folks don't even own their land in the end.
Which is like a new land theft. To play landlord,
Really?
yeah.
Well, it's keeping the land price out of the price of the home.
So you never own your land.
It's a 99-year
Andre.
agreement.
Which makes sense, but then that should be shown also in their overall numbers when they're saying $800,000 to build one unit when you're doing a medium dense unit of 6. The land was given. You're also borrowing against the land for other projects. So that's what the land trust is about. So I mean, just their projected number of cost is exorbitant, and what I see it as is extracting from a poor community and or upper management. And on a project this size, those numbers are staggering. I have 1 or 2 houses. Okay, it's status quo. Do how Habitat does, but something this size, it just does. It's a huge amount, and I don't think that our community should be a test pilot for some project this large when they're not giving any kind of concession on their end. It's just extractory.
Is that something that Habitat does with all of their homes? So they retain the land?
So
Not on all, no.
and they've also eliminated sweat equity where the home buyer puts in their sweat equity. They don't do that or after 2020.
Really?
Yeah, they did remove that
Yeah.
because they were finding it was harder and harder for folks to do that.
Well, that was understandable if you couldn't swing a hammer.
Exactly.
There was other things that you could do,
Mhm.
you know, make the workers lunches or paint, or there's
Drive out.
things that you could do.
Yeah.
That's
Earn that sweat equity. So this is just another real estate company then.
Yeah, Habitat for Humanity is not a community barn raising.
Wow.
So there's no percentage of donated, or?
Well, I've
That's what
been
I was
asking
like.
for and they haven't gotten that information back in my correspondence.
They will still have volunteer people coming, but the people who are buying the units, my understanding is they will not be required to donate time. They can, but it will not be a requirement to have a home like it used to be before 2020. Cause I've helped with Habitat for Humanity houses myself, a couple of them, and I asked specific question, I asked about that to them, and that's what they told me, that as of 2020, they were no longer requiring it, but they were still giving the option that they could volunteer if they chose to.
But Yanni,
Yeah.
is your concern that there's too much donated, labor?
Well,
or-
so since they, don't want to do the geothermal, then it goes to the, neighborhood and what, cause that's gonna be that, help offset the cost of, the overall cost of ownership. So if you're not putting those dollars back in by, paying local labor to build the properties, it's extractory of economics out of the community is how I'm looking at this.
Well, I mean, if they're not using the geothermal, then that brings up where is Excel in this process? Where are they now gonna build their new substation to be able to provide the power for this?
Especially with our new roads.
Square
By the-
mileage.
By the way, they are coming in July,
They're coming.
and I told them that you had lots of questions. I told them you had lots of questions, and make sure that, because what they're doing is they are bringing us the site plan for the site, and I said, well, if you do that, you make sure somebody from Excel is here to answer questions.
Yeah,
Have we asked Habitat to come and answer our question?
Asked Yanni and Rebecca if they wanted me to, I didn't get a response back, so no, we haven't.
Because I've been asking them these questions for almost a year now, if not a little longer, and it's they don't answer.
So because I'm kind of new to this whole thing in regards to this, the heights. So Yanni, when you're saying the Habitat focuses on utilizing external resources, potentially overlooks the opportunity to empower local workforce? Okay, so my understanding of that is that they are bringing more people in from outside the east side to build these units than actually using people who live on the east side to build these units. Is that
Yeah,
what
they
you're
should
saying?
be using people from the east side.
Yes, that is
Do we have people on the east side that can do that?
well, right. Well, that is the question. I mean, there are contractors on the east side that could have done this. I don't, there's
Are
several
At this, on this scale?
on this scale.
You know, I mean, like, if they're building 149 units, do we have a contractor on the east side that can have the manpower and whatever you need to build that many
Right.
units?
But that general is one thing, but then all your subcontractors can be from the community. That is what the general does. They have to hire and sub out. And so that's where that focus of getting east side labor and special trades would come from. So the general,
So
yes, I don't think there
Like
is a
they would
general.
hold a, oh, okay, so like they would hold a job fair and hire people who live on the east side, these contractors? So we
Yeah, well,
know,
they do. Yeah, there's a system called the CERT system. There's the APEX system through the state. These whole programs are already set up to be used and utilized, and that's how you get Section 3 contractors, and you can and 55106 are contractors out of that, Black, women, minority owned businesses, and so yeah, I mean the tools are set up already. It's not something that is very hard to
Okay.
do.
and so what you're saying, because I'm still just asking, trying to get a feel for it. So what you're saying is Habitat has not done this and that they are right now working with a contractor or whatever, or somebody from outside the east side. We have no proof that they're connecting or partnering with anyone from the east side to do this project.
Right.
And you've been asking for over a year for proof and they haven't given you any names or phone numbers or emails or anything.
Right. Right.
I will say that, when we were discussing volunteers, they did say that the actual, like, building volunteers will be local. And that we don't have to actually recruit those people, or that they're not gonna be, because they're actually working with local, contractors, but I don't know what they mean by local.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what do they mean?
So why we can't have them come?
Oh, we certainly can have them come. I didn't have the go-ahead to have somebody come. I didn't know if they wanted this in an internal conversation or to have someone present. If you want them to come, to July or a separate date, we can certainly do that.
And
Yeah,
Ian,
I didn't, I think that, yeah, I thought we should have our conversation first because they've had multiple opportunities to answer it.
and
Did we have a Habitat representative last fall?
Mhm.
And is that when our letter went
We
out?
actually had another one in January,
Mhm.
and that's when the letter was sent to support blocks 3 and 4. But we had no decision-making, or support for when the developers were chosen. That was done by the port because they own the property.
So, Iani, in hearing all of this, the one thing reading through the letter is, I wonder if we want to add a sentence saying what our ask is, because in a sense it raises the concerns and questions that we have. So, under take action, my thought would be to say that, at this time, until these questions have been resolved to our satisfaction, we are removing our support, but would like to have the opportunity to hear from them for them to respond. So in a sense, an acknowledgement that you have been reaching out, they're not responding. So we can't continue to be supportive of the plan as it stands, but they need to come and respond to some of these questions. Is that?
I like that. Yep, that's good.
A motion, Rebecca?
Well, I'd be curious to hear other people's thoughts on it. That's just kind of where I'm leaning.
Say it again, Rebecca.
So in a sense, we'd add a sentence, and I can kind of draft one into the chat here, but saying, as these questions are currently unresolved, we are removing our letter of support until somebody from Habitat for Humanity comes and meets with us and resolves these questions to our satisfaction.
I would say potentially withholding,
Or currently, something like that. I wouldn't, I don't think we should make it like final and put that line in
Until
the
you-
sand and then
Yeah.
then they
But,
say,
I
okay,
mean,
fine.
Yeah, that doesn't tie.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
withhold.
I'll start drafting and then it'll be in the chat and you all can see and we can edit from there. How's that?
Sure.
Can I ask another question? In the first bullet where it says breakdown of donated versus local labor, are we concerned that they're gonna have more volunteers like doing the painting or screwing in doorknobs over having hired people that live in our community and they won't get paid? Is that what's? I'm trying to figure out what it means. Understand
Yeah,
the percentage. The
Yeah.
first bullet, so we want to put a cap on how many people can volunteer?
No. So it's because the dialogue shifted from they were doing geothermal, then they weren't, which doesn't support our community at all. And so it's more it's going to cost more to live there. So it's taking the overall design, and then because they're not, I was asking them to compare the cost saving between, or the cost of homeownership, heating and cooling, between the air heat that they want to do and geothermal, and that they wouldn't answer that question. So then comes to play, if they're still going to do the air heat and the geothermal, the dollars to extra dollars that it would cost to heat and cool the place should be brought back into the community via hired labor rather than volunteer labor.
So is this gonna affect Garth Brooks coming to the east side?
That's a done deal. That's happening anyway.
I'm just wondering, because I like Garth Brooks, so I'm just kidding. I do like him, but anyway.
No. Oh, no. Garth Brooks and I believe Trisha, they both volunteer their time. The machine that brings them here, the machine that puts them up on stage, that's all paid. So they volunteer their time, but the machine behind them, no, they are paid to do that. They will be here.
So we have no say in like the percentage of labor that's volunteer and the percentage of labor that's paid. We don't have any say in that. Okay.
No, we don't. I was just wondering what those numbers were, so we actually we could put, as a community, put a dollar amount to what could have been or isn't coming in, that type of thing.
Can I ask a question? I may be the person that everybody will wanna do something to when we leave here. My question is this, okay, then she'll be in trouble. My question is this. By us potentially taking away our agreement to support this, how will it affect this going in to, it happening still? How can this actually affect or change or create what we would like instead of what's already set?
Well,
do you understand what I'm asking?
I do. It makes a lot of sense. And by doing this sends a signal to the city, to the county, to the port, the newly formed Green Bank that can actually figure out how to get more funding for geothermal on these 4 lots, saying that, hey, the very neighborhood that it's being built in is saying, hey, you need to do this better. And that's all we're asking. We're just asking them to do it better. The way the community came together initially and said, this is what we want, to actually do that. Instead of come in, have the land given to them, put a sticker price tag on it, and do business as usual on the largest project they've done in the country ever. And it just boggles my mind that they would not take into more account what the community wanted in their own community. That's the frustration. And by doing this does signal to, like I said, the city, the county, and the state Green Bank as well, that, hey, maybe there's some things that we can do here to help push this along and get a usable geothermal system in place.
But could they still go, we don't need your support
Absolutely.
and we're gonna go ahead and do it?
Absolutely.
And that's just the way it is. Sorry. They can do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's what I,
They can.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fair point.
But with that, all of us, all of our neighbors, we call her boss,
Mhm.
we can call other,
Sure,
we can raise a stink.
okay.
And then, hey, news organizations love to hear, stuff like
Okay.
this.
I just was wondering the
I mean,
power and leverage,
We
which we don't have.
potentially don't have a lot of power where we can say, no, you're not gonna do that,
Got it.
versus, yeah, we're gonna slander your name all over town. And,
Well, it
and,
would have to
and
be that.
potentially have you lose projects because we have bad mouthed you so bad.
It's political.
That's it's political. That's our only power.
Well, and
I have Go ahead.
Go
I
ahead,
was-
Rebecca.
I guess from my perspective, my goal with this is not to torpedo this project, or my support for this is not in the aim of torpedoing this project or getting in an adversarial back and forth with Habitat for Humanity. But I feel like we've now had this happen, at least where I've seen this a few times, where we have a group come and speak to us or a representative body come and speak to us. And when they're doing kind of engagement and say, you know, these, oh yeah, we'll do those, we'll look into those things, we'll get back to you. And then they leave, and then we don't hear back on those things. We reach out, they don't respond to us individually. And so to me, that's what this letter is saying. It might end up going nowhere and where nobody really cares, but I do think it's worth saying, this was what we were told initially. We've tried to get further clarity, and that's being ignored when it's an individual voice. So now the little power that we do have, we're raising our voice saying that that's a concern and they do need to come and answer these questions. And then maybe they don't. And if it was really a risk of us completely torpedoing Habitat for Humanity doing something in the neighborhood, you know, I wouldn't be in support of this. But I just do not see that as a legitimate harm from this. And I appreciate that Iani put at the beginning of the letter, we support this. And I typed just one sentence into the comment box, and I would be fine with us also adding one after that. You know, we look forward to collaborating on this project that, you know, is an important addition to our neighborhood. And, you know, something like that. We're not against, or at least from my perspective, I'm not against this coming in. We're excited about it, but we want them to do it right and to deal with us in good faith.
Right.
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
I completely agree. With
We've been getting the same kind of runaround from politicians, so I think it's a great opportunity to point out that type of behavior with this situation. You know, when politicians, you know, they hear what we say and then they just ignore our opinions and then go ahead and do things that we don't want, or even ignore the Constitution this year.
So Rebecca, is that your motion then? What you have in the
Oh.
chat?
Okay, I was gonna say something, but it looks like you guys are done discussing.
No,
Nope,
please.
we're not discussing. I'm just clarifying that that is the motion.
No
Oh, I-
motion yet. I just put a tentative thing for people to discuss. So please.
Go ahead, Karen.
Yes, I was gonna say hi, everybody. Sorry, I was kind of late, so I'm at work, but I have a few minutes. I was gonna say from the presentations that they did, correct me if I'm wrong, for those who have been the presentations last year, they initially said that they would work in a way to have local people help with the project, Yanni. And I feel like what we are saying is trying to find accountability in making that happen. We're not trying to say that we can't work with them.
right. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. If I
You go first, I have another.
Okay, I have a question, and only because I don't know much, I know what geothermal and all that is, but if we would, okay, I'll just say it. Can geothermal be added to that other section at this late of a time when they're already planning on starting to build in October? I guess,
Yeah.
okay.
it can be added after the property is in. It costs a little more. It's called vertical. It's not going to be. They could do what it's called a therms is the new name for it. It's like a microgrid geothermal for that block or the individual buildings. It is how it ends up working instead of being tied together with the rest of the geothermal. But it can still be put in after the fact.
Okay, it's just me again. So since the land is owned by the Port Authority, where do they stand on this? Can they support, do they support us in what we are requesting, or have we contacted the Port Authority yet about
Yeah,
our
they were-
disappointment? And what did Port Authority say?
Christine has been on every email and has not responded.
Well, should we go visit Christine then and knock on her door for face to face, because emails don't get you anywhere? Sorry, that's just my opinion, but I'm thinking
Says
maybe.
the lady who just had her email destroyed.
But
Just.
you have to remember that these folks are paid, our positions are volunteer. So, I mean,
I know, but would it make an impact on how Habitat with us or works with us if they knew that the Port Authority was also supporting what we're requesting? Would that make a difference?
it very well may. Yeah,
So should we have the Port Authority come here and chit chat with us? So we can tell them how basically disappointed we are in how this project is moving forward and where do they stand on what we feel is important? Do they support us or are they just like, well, we bought the land, we're done? I would support Authority coming too, as well as Habitat, and have them all sit around the table at the same time, looking at each other,
Is that a motion?
and we don't give them water.
yeah. I think that would be good. I just wanted us to hash it out beforehand without them in the room
I
because they've had
agree.
a good time. Yeah.
I agree. Cause they would look at me and go, look at that stupid woman over there asking all those dumb questions, and I'd rather we do it here where just you guys think I'm dumb and not Port Authority or Habitat, you know, so.
No.
About me, don't worry.
So is that a motion, Jane?
Yes, that would be a motion on my part to have the Port Authority and Habitat come.
Is there,
Don't tell them that we're having them at the same meeting.
Second.
Second that part of it.
Oh my God, you.
So collaborate before they come.
have as many meetings as you want between now and then? As many. Now is to request support, probably Christine.
Okay, she has to come. Look
She
her up.
has to go. And Habitat to come to meet with the District 2 board to address these questions. And what we can do in the email to them, we can identify specifically what, is here so that they know what goods to bring.
Right.
What
Can we
answers
share
to-
these talking points that Iani wrote out without us voting on it as a letter, or do we need to have it voted on?
I think it can be part of the motion if the mover would accept
I accept that as an amendment or whatever, that we have this letter as part of this, yeah.
and that's cool with you too?
Yeah.
And are we comfortable adding the language in the chat, or do we want to leave it just as is?
So the language in the set is, as these questions remain unresolved, we are withdrawing our letter of support until a representative from Habitat for Humanity and the port.
And the
which is
board,
just added, and meet with the District 2 Council to respond to these concerns. And then Rebecca, you added, we do look forward to collaborating on this project and look forward to working with you. Is that what you said? I was writing fast.
Yeah, I was trying to think my way. I was
Doesn't it
trying to
always say that?
yeah.
In
At
the
the
first first sentence of the letter says that.
It
Yes,
does.
it does. indeed.
So I'm fine not adding that, but it's up to you all. I just want to make sure to have the language there that they understand we're overall supportive of the project. But I personally think the way Iani wrote it is fine. So if you all are comfortable, we could just add this one sentence in the chat.
I think,
Potential.
that these questions remain unresolved. We are, we are potentially withdrawing our letter of
No,
support.
currently withdrawing, I think is better.
So you want to withdraw support?
Well, I don't know.
I don't
They're
want
blowing
to.
everybody off, so they don't really
Well,
deserve that. Support. I'm stonewalling.
We just want to
Question.
confirm.
Yeah, my take on it is that we're saying, we gave you support previously. We haven't gotten a response to this, so we're taking the support away, our official position of support until we have these questions answered.
Okay,
That's
I'll go
fine.
with that.
Can you rewrite that, Rebecca, so I can take a picture of it and make sure that I've got it correct? Thank you.
So that would leave it as the language in the chat. Sorry, my dog is upset, the cat's stealing his food. So it'd be as these questions remain
Dear she,
unresolved.
dear she.
I know.
Okay, I'm gonna throw water on the fire or throw like gasoline on the fire, is more like that. Because I still like that we are currently withdrawing our letter of support. I think it leaves it open that we are willing to have a discussion. We are willing to compromise, to collaborate. It's not like I don't want, you know, I think if we show that we're open-minded and we want this, we realize this is great for the east side. So currently we are withdrawing our support.
Great. So Rebecca says that works for me and that's better.
Okay.
That's good.
So basically to add the current.
Yep, add the current.
Gotcha. All righty,
Can I ask
so
a question? Johnny, do you know, another one? Yeah, how deep do they have to go to do this geothermal? How deep do they dig into the earth to get the?
It depends on, the stratus, the earth you're going through. I believe St. Paul is about is it 120 to 300 something? It's in that range, depending on where you're at.
So the motion on the floor basically is to send the points with the additional language that Rebecca has, and and the addition of currently, which I took a picture of. And we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I would oppose that motion because we're withdrawing support without having a response from them. And this letter is raising concerns. It's not stating factual numerical numbers. The motion that I would make if this one doesn't pass is that based on these concerns, that we need to have Habitat and the port meet with us by August. Or then we will withdraw our support.
That's right.
How's that different?
Because what Michael is saying is we are not removing support until we talk to you first.
Oh,
You're saying we remove support.
currently remove
That's
support.
why I was trying to put the potential of removing our support.
Okay.
So the motion right now removes, it just a nutshell it. Remove support until they come and address these issues. Is that the motion you still want to make? And that's,
I'm okay with that.
okay. So any further discussion on that motion? All in favor of the removing of the support, say aye.
Aye.
So, okay. 2, 3, 4. 6.
I as well.
I as well.
Okay. All opposed? The ayes have it. And we will send that letter out in the morning. And I will keep you all posted on what we hear. Okay?
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that your office gets a copy.
Yeah.
All right.
That meeting that they had about the whole thing, my overall impression from it was kind of like they're just, other than obviously increasing the supply of housing, it doesn't seem like they're really helping the people that we really need to help most. So, it seems like we're just trying to take advantage of the grants that we have available in the city and the county.
So we'll find out more when they come. We'll find out more when they come.
Well, if they come, what's the incentive
Yeah.
now to come?
Well,
That's true.
That's when
if
we
they
start.
don't come, that's when we pull your thing where we start sending them en masse information. We all send them letters. We all send them notes. I mean, that's my opinion at that point. They don't show up.
That's why I wanna make sure that y'all
Yep, now we
get
have to,
updated.
now we have to do more.
Okay.
Bumping.
Okay, next on the agenda is neighborhood questions and any updates. We do have a couple of just dates that I wanted to make sure that you're aware of. First off, we are not having a community conversation in July, the July 3rd, because it's the day before the 4th of July, and we have a feeling that not a lot of people are gonna be around. Secondly, we have 2 more pop-ups coming up in June. One is on the 21st, one is on the 28th. I believe the 21st, correct me if I'm wrong, is at Beaver Lake. Maybe, you know what, there's flyers right behind you. And where's 21st?
Beaver Lake and then Prosperity on the 28th.
28th is Prosperity, and you are all welcome to come. We're gonna have popsicles. We invite folks who want to table with us. So last time we had someone from the Phelan Clinic there, as well as, I wanna say someone else came too.
Giovanna's neighbor.
Giovanna's neighbor came, all right, excellent. So we do in between 4 and 6, although that time is kind of flexy, if the conversation's good and the weather's good, which who knows what the weather's doing right now. So you are all welcome, and there are flyers behind you, so please take one and share them with your neighbors and friends. Any other questions? Uh-huh.
So I noticed looking out my office front window, I've noticed it for years, but 3 blocks north of the Hazel Park on Hazel, there's this section of sidewalk that it always puddles for like 20 or 30 feet. And so people just walk on the grass around it or on the street between Ames and Mechanic.
Would you be willing to take a picture and send it over to me?
Sure. How do we get that fixed? What do we-
Well, a really great actual program is through the watershed. And so I'd like to send them that picture and say, what can we do about this?
Okay, and there's a couple of sinkholes like right there.
Yeah,
But
water. That makes that happen. But yeah, if you could send me a picture, that'd be great.
I have a
You said-
neighborhood update.
Yes. Oh, yes, Mike, and then Rebecca.
Sorry, Rebecca. At Ames Lake, Lisa has succeeded in getting
Get on it.
all of the dock railing and up boards replaced and,
Yay.
100% fixed. Better than ever. And
Very nice.
well, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Great.
that is great.
That things will be up to date, because I was gonna start yelling again. Rebecca, what is your update?
I just had a couple of questions on some things from last meeting, and I'm sorry if you all are hearing our dog in the background. One, I know you've been working on grants and stuff right now, but I was wondering if you had heard back or been able to reconnect with the team in charge of the Minnehaha project on their plans for contractors doing the lights so they are not as prone to copper wire theft.
Did send an email out to them, but I haven't had a response, and frankly, Rebecca, I haven't had a chance to follow up on it, but I will do that.
Thank you. And the one other thing I wanted to see is if I know this might need to shift a bit if we have Habitat and the Port Authority next month. We may not have the space, but one thing I'd like on the agenda, if not next month, but the month after, would be a group discussion about our collective goals and desires as a community for Maryland Avenue in between Phelan and Hazel, because there was kind of a last minute change on what would happen to that section on the bike plan and some things related to Purple Line. And so there's a lot of things that are kind of in flux there. And I thought it would be a good thing for this group to weigh in and see what their thoughts are on it.
So can I make a recommendation right now? We do not have a community conversation topic for that first week in August. Could we make it a community conversation about Maryland Avenue?
Potentially. Iani, you know the timeline on this. Was there a decision that's coming up on this in, is it September?
It's Yeah, no, we just got a new one. Sorry, I'm driving and I don't have my stuff in front of me. Can I email you? I think it's actually pushed out to October now.
Okay, because if so, I think that would probably work. I just want to make sure whatever we end up collectively, the community conversation and a discussion here with what our desires are for that, because some last minute changes happened within the bike plan, and so wanted to raise those and see if we can get input and time to send a response if we have a specific response as a group.
So Yanni, would you get back to me and let me know if it's September or October? And then I will send it out to the board and you guys can decide when you want to have that conversation.
Yeah, I will. I'll email you the list of timeline.
That
Okay,
sounds
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
I think every road is closed.
Yes.
It's impossible to get around the east side. It is, it's ridiculous. Can't get there from here. No.
I think from McKnight to Wiper Avenue to Ivy Avenue to Larpenteur, everything is like,
Boxed in like.
You betcha.
Carpenter's gonna get worse.
yes.
Yeah.
They're using Hawthorne really well.
Yes.
That's all I gotta say, is Hawthorne has really become a speedway more than ever,
Yeah.
because that's their only way
It's the only way to
through
get through.
from McKnight to Whitebear Avenue. So, yeah, I know what you mean. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating for some of the homeowners, but I keep telling them it will get done. Pray for nice weather. It'll get done sooner. Yeah, I tell them, make sure there's, dike count, don't say prayer, because some people get offended, but I say just, we need to make sure there's good to get it done sooner rather than later. And, and Larpenteur is gonna be dug up for a long time. That's the county. We can't blame Joanne for that
Not
anymore.
anymore.
It's too bad. But that's just gonna be
Sorry.
I don't know how long that's gonna take, but I agree with you. That's a mess over there. That's a mess.
Yep.
And it needs to be done, that's for sure. We know how bad those roads were, but I agree.
Well,
It is really bottling us.
At least the road's gonna get replaced between the top of the hill and Whitebear Avenue, Carpenter. Finally, it took 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, there.
yeah, I know, I'm frustrated. We're all frustrated.
We're all frustrated on that one, yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, even I'm getting impacted coming in from Minneapolis 36, they're shutting down lanes because of reconstruction.
Right,
So,
Remember, they say there's 2 seasons in the north.
yeah.
Yeah, road construction and winter.
any other items? Is there a motion?
I noticed the thing about the yard, thing, is that like?
About the what, I'm sorry?
The yard is a jungle at the office,
Oh, yeah, our yard is jungle.
is the. What's needed, mostly pulling weeds or
Yeah.
need a lawnmower or what?
No, we do have a lawnmower. It's just actually having the time to cut the grass when we're actually doing other work. So that's part of it. And, if it would stop raining once, actually get out there and get it. We do have a lawnmower. And we do have a summer intern who started today. She'll be working 2 days a week. And she cut the heck out of the back garden. So she'll make her way forward. So, but yes, it is a jungle. Anyone who's been to our office lately will see it is a jungle. But everything's growing good.
Yeah, that's it.
Better than last year when everything was done.
Yeah.
Don't forget, there's a new roof now. And we got our new roof, which is
Yay.
such a weight off my shoulders, you guys, with all this rain. I'm thinking, oh my God, but I know I haven't replaced that thing since we moved in. We moved in what, 2010, 2011? And there's been several hailstorms since then, but we have now a new roof and we won't get rain.
Is it
Barring-
finished?
Roof is finished, so come look at it, barring what's happening right now.
And it was
In-
covered by insurance because of the hail support.
Yeah.
It was,
Hail damage.
yeah, actually, originally, they sent us 75%, oh, yep, it's right to our north right now. 75% of it, and then our contractor negotiated and got another 25%. almost. So like 20, so we are out $1,000.
I might have sure.
Yeah,
It's not bad.
yeah, we're out, and that's just our deductible. Yes,
Is that flat roof?
no, it's a pitch. But it's tiny. Yeah, I mean, we're less than 700 square feet.
Yeah.
It's tiny enough. All right, so is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
I'll third.
Hey, very good, excellent. Well, thank you all, and I will keep you posted what I do. On everything.
On everything.
Have a great evening.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have to tell you, a funny thing happened to me. I